Lions TV, it's been a while. It's been about 16 days since I last uploaded a video. I have moved house again, and it is the last time I will be moving. I can tell you that much. So I've been off camera. I've had to gut this place out completely, and I've started redoing it. This is going to be the office slash guest room. So this week I'll be getting the lighting sorted, and I'll be getting bits and bobs up behind me, the Lions TV, light, etc. But how you been, everyone? I hope you've been well and surviving without much football. But as always, there is never a dull moment in SE16, and there's plenty to talk about from the past week at Millwall Football Club. We're going to start out. We've got, like I said, loads to talk about. New contracts, players potentially going, players potentially going for a lot less than they probably should, and in terms of contracts that they sign with the club. But we're going to start out with, I'm just going to do it in an order that I feel is necessary. And I'm going to start out with the news on Japhet Tanganga and Josh Coburn. Of course, both loanees last season at the Den, both relatively successful spells. Coburn started really well, had a couple of injuries. Some people think he tailed off a little bit. I still think he's got a lot to offer. And Sturge didn't play at all, did he? Until Joe Bryan got injured. And then once Bryan got injured, Sturge was flying, and we're hoping to sign him. I'm hearing this week, I think he's William Scott, is it? He works for News at Den. I might have that wrong. Sorry, mate, if you are watching. I'm pretty sure that's right. So we are interested in Sturge. And of course, we need a left back because Murray Wallace is at the club. And surprisingly, which I covered in my squad retain list video, that Nino Adamalaki has also left the club. So we're very lot of numbers in that area potentially. Joe Bryan will be the number one, of course, the number three first choice. And you've also got Adam Mayers returned to the club and Kamal Grant, both are on loan at Bromley. So, you know, there is players coming back in, but no disrespect to those players. I think the way the club's going now, they'll be looking elsewhere. And I think Sturge fits the bill very well, still very young, looked really good when he got into the swing of it towards the end of the season. And I'm hoping and I'm hearing it could be on a free contract. So that will be an absolute bonus as well. The Coburn thing, I'm hearing noise that Coventry are interested. Of course, that's probably, you know, it's from Middlesbrough. So that's 2.5 hours closer to home than we are. Big debate on Coburn. Would you keep him? Wouldn't you keep him? A debate that will reign on. I still think he's got a lot to offer. The worries I've got now is the price, for one. And for two, of course, since last time I filmed, Michael Carrick has been sacked by Middlesbrough as well. So he could potentially want to stay and fight for his place. Like I said, he's from Borough, local lad, or near there somewhere. So he might, you know, still young, still time for him to try and progress at the club. I'm sure that will be his preferred first option, unless he gets told by Middlesbrough that he's not wanted and his services aren't required. I mentioned something in a video the other week as well, that other players that could come into the fold. Now, Preston are going to lose 4 players, all out of contract. One of them is a striker, Emil Rees. Look at him there. He was signed by Preston from Randers. That's not a misprint. No, I'm taking it they're a Danish club or whatever. And since he's come to Preston, he's been there 4 years, like you can see, and he's notched 1 in every 4. Also available on a free transfer, but again, I'm already hearing that the likes of Coventry and Sheffield United are interested in securing his services. So nothing concrete yet. Transfers coming in, which is understandable. The players are still off on holiday. I don't think they're due back to the first week of July. So we've still got, what, a good month, haven't we? Until things will probably get properly up and running. Back to the forward debate, when I always say it causes massive divide with the Coburn thing. Would you keep him, wouldn't you keep him? Of course, Kevin Nisbet returned to the club after his loan at Aberdeen, and I will cover this. I did post it on social media there, and I did put a vote out saying, you know, now he's returned to the club, could he have a fresh start under a fellow Scot and a new manager in Alex Neil? Aberdeen won't be signing him, I'm hearing, because due to their lack of funds, there's a couple of other players they want to buy first, and they can't afford to sign them all. So Nisbet potentially will remain in SE16, and if he gets his head round being back at the club under a different manager, do you think he could do a job? And I was actually surprised at the results of that. 60% of you said yes, and 40% said no. So if you didn't see that poll on Instagram or the post I put out on Facebook, then feel free to let me know in the comments what you think on that one. Of course, now, you know, with Coburn leaving the club because he was a loanee, Nisbet's back, Macaulay Langstaff's still a Millwall player, and I'm not expecting that to change, to be honest with you, because I think he'll be utilised by Alex Neil coming off the bench in other areas, as well as a striker. I've covered that in other videos. But moving on to, while we're on the subject of strikers, the big garlic, Avanovic, has now been linked with Wolverhampton Wanderers. of course, I hope he doesn't go. Previously, he's been linked to Lazio. He did have a loan spell himself out of Sampdoria, I think. And he did go over to Italy, but it didn't really work out for him over there for whatever reason. But Lazio were linked, and now Wolverhampton Wanderers. Listen, of course, we all hope that he doesn't go. And for all those, by the way, we go, you said Tanganga was shit and he should play for Bromley. I also did keep on, he's got something to serve. He'll come good when people were saying he ain't good enough for his standard. Well, now he's attracting Premier League interest, and I do expect this to happen. Although I think the club and himself should want another year at it to give it another push under Alex Neil. He scored 12 goals last season, and I think he'll improve on that this year again, having come in, at the start of the season, having a pre-season. Didn't get that glory last year, did he? Come in sort of at the end of the summer transfer window. So the season was already off and running. But the way that the club is going now, the model of the club, bringing these players in like Zian Fleming, and I'm expecting Camille Nishley potentially to be a similar type, get what we can out of them and moving them on for big money. That's the model of the club now, and that's the reality of football. When it's a catch-22, you get someone and you spend a bit of money on them from abroad who is unknown. You might get a bit of a deal on them because they're unknown, but at the same time, if they do well, you're going to lose them. If they don't do well, you've wasted a load of dough. So, yeah, I'll keep my eye on that one with Avanovic, and I'll keep you updated. Hopefully, we don't hear a lot on that, but there is no smoke without fire, like I always say. And in time, I'm expecting Avanovic, hopefully not this summer, and hopefully not at all. But I think if he has another season like he did last season, a bit more experience, more games, more goals under his belt, you could see him move on at the end of next season. Now, another player that looks like he is going to be heading out the door is the aforementioned Japhet Tanganga. This is a strange one. People getting up with the club, people getting up potentially with Tanganga. When Tanganga come to us, I'm going to still keep trying to defend myself. He was signed by Joe Edwards, of course. He played right side of a back three. He hadn't kicked a football for over a year. And he was horrendous. He kept giving the ball away, crossfield passes, costing us goals. But a change of manager, Neil Harris really put his faith in him, made him part of a centre-back partnership as a two, and he thrived, Tanganga. But I think what he's done is he's come to, like, basically, he's borderline alone, really, isn't it? He hasn't got a club. He hasn't played a lot of football out in Germany. And he said, look, I've played for the back end of that season. I've done well. Now, what I want is, I want a contract, and it would have been him and his agent that says there is a release clause of £1.2 million if a Premier League club comes in. Now, I think just quickly veering off a little bit to wages. People go, Tanganga's on 40s, Joe Bryan's on 35. I can promise you they are not. Joe Bryan's nowhere near that. Okay, and secondly, Tanganga is the highest paid player at the club, to my knowledge. And I'm, for example, okay, let's not say let's guess what he's on. Let's say he's on £25,000 a week. Now, times that by 52, it's £1 million a year. I've got a calculator, I didn't work that one out in my head that quick. So basically, what we paid Jaff, £1 million last season, and potentially a little bit for the back end of the season before that, we're not going to make any money on this deal. So Jaff's basically saying, look, I'll come and play for you, but when someone comes in, then I want to go. And of course, the transfer release clause can only be activated by a Premier League club, and 1.2 million, that's basically what we paid Tanganga in wages until this point. So what he said is, look, okay, I'll sign, but that's the clause I want, and when someone comes in, I'll be off, which is understandable. It's also very worrying. Sean Hutchinson left the club. So you've got Jake Cooper, Murray Wallace as well. So they was both centre-backs. I know they was on their way out, experience, etc., etc. But it will be Kramer and Cooper, I would imagine, and I'm sure we'll go out into the transfer market. No one's going to bid. Someone said, well, why have we got to sell him for 1.2? Someone might bid more than that. It's there in black and white. It's out there. It's like, there you go, boom, there's the bomb, and then they'll come. £1.2 million is someone's going to bid over that. Like, someone's going to come in and go, do you know, we'll have him for 1.2. Probably a Sunderland or something like that, but it's only Premier League clubs that can do it. So unless Premier League clubs don't fancy Jaff, I'm sure a lot of them would for 1.2. It's peanuts in Premier League money. Then I expect Jaff to be off this summer. I've heard he's very happy at the club, but unfortunately, it's again a little bit of a stepping stone for him, and he wants to get back to where he was, which is hard to do. Once you're there where he was with Spurs, he dropped out, he went to Germany, didn't really play for a year. That's hard to then get back. So fair play to Jaff for doing it, but it does look like we're going to lose our best player this summer. So we'll be looking into the transfer market without an absolute doubt for centre-backs. Cooper I love, I know a lot of you don't, but he's ageing. He is the captain, of course, and Kramer will now not play right back because he isn't a right back. He'll be Cooper's centre defence partner. I thought they looked good when they played there together, but definitely more numbers needed in that area. Okay, moving on to another player that could potentially leave the club this summer. And again, I don't want this to happen, but I think it will happen. And I will tell you why. I'm talking about Liam Roberts. He's been linked with a move to Mansfield. Now, he is out of contract along with Danny McNamara. And I believe that Savs and Honeyman still haven't signed their contracts that they've been offered on reduced terms. Liam Roberts is far too good for whatever league Mansfield. I don't know whether League One, I think in League One or League Two, whichever. He's a very good keeper. He's very capable. We didn't see loads of him, but what we did see of him, we liked. Some things we really, really liked. It wasn't football related, really. But yeah, look, it's a tough one, this one, because he's out of contract, and of course with Jensen injured long term, he would be the number one choice in a Championship club pushing for the top six. So if he goes to Mansfield, people might think, well, I was going to say he's 31 years old. It's not really old for a keeper. I don't know where he's from. I imagine he's from up that way. But since the incident at Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, it's public knowledge that he's received death threats against himself and his wife. I'm not sure if he's got any children, but I'll leave that out of it anyway. And I just think it's not that he doesn't like Millwall. I just think all that's done. Listen, of course it's going to affect his mental health. And I think for him and his family, he probably thinks, as long as I'm a goalkeeper at Millwall, that I'll always be tarnished with that. Not personally, look, going back to the incident, he's come out with a high foot, potentially should have gone with his head, but Mateta's gone the other side of Cooper when he probably should have stopped. Fair play to Mateta, he's brave, and his momentum just carried him through, and his foot shot up in the air, and he's caught him, and whatever else ensued after that happened, and I say he had death threats, he had all sorts. He then got voted for Player of the Year by you lunatics, and the club had to put out another statement saying, we've removed Robbo from the Player of the Year, he can't be Player of the Year. It's just going to bring more focus and more online hate towards him. So I think for Liam Roberts, of course he wants to play in the Championship, he wants to play at the highest level he can. He showed us what he can do in this division. He's had fantastic games away at Pompey, Leeds in the FA Cup, and a couple of others thrown in there probably as well that I can't think off the top of my head. But he's probably thinking, do you know what, as long as I'm a Millwall player, as long as I'm a goalkeeper here, and he's going to have to go out there first game of the season, he's going to get dogs abuse. If he goes to Mansfield, was it? If he goes to Mansfield, he's going to get under the radar a little bit more. People will still go, that's that geezer who did that in the FA Cup, whatever. But I just think if he does go, that will be the reason he does go. And we will need a goalkeeper, of course. We will, as I mentioned, Jensen out till Christmas. I think George Evans showed he's capable to step in, but to be a consistent number one, I think to throw him into the Wolves like that. And he played brilliant away at many games this season. He played at home, Norwich at home, Borough at home, really good as well. At where was we? Burnley last game of the season away. So we need a goalkeeper. The club have said they're open to take a goalkeeper on a permanent or on a loan. I would immediately refer back to the Preston thing. 4 players leaving Preston. Freddie Woodman, of course, Andy Woodman's son, who is the Bromley manager. He's from Croydon. And I think it's a no-brainer. He's an established Championship goalkeeper, available on a free. So I'll do all I could to try and get Freddie Woodman to SE16, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments. And we're going to move on to the biggest news of the week. I know it's 3 very big bits of news this week, but for me, this is in our favour. It's to our benefit. And I'm talking, of course, about Alex Neil has signed a new long-term contract at the club. I haven't covered the gaffer too much, and I do want to get the boys together for a podcast, but I've been flat in here for I looked at my YouTube list the other day and I went, fucking hell, I put a video up, not 15 days. The boys are all off on holiday, as people are during the summer, etc. But we'll try and get us all together. Because we haven't really discussed Alex Neil in depth. Again, I'll be honest, I wasn't overly keen on him. But from what I'm hearing, he's very, very liked by the players. They think he's a fantastic manager, and I like the noises he's making. I like the results he gets on the pitch. I like his substitution, and he seems to be wanting to push forward. He keeps saying, and all managers will say this, this is a special and unique club. But he keeps banging that drum. And I'm going to read a little bit now of the statement that the club put out on the website. Millwall Football Club is delighted to announce that Alex Neil has signed a new contract at the Den. The 43-year-old head coach, fuck me, he's younger than me. Must have had an uphill paper round as a kid in Chernobyl. Anyway, yeah, for the foreseeable future, just tell us how long, fuck me. Neil joined the club in December 2024, oversaw the Lions rise up the table in the second part of the 24-25 season, with Millwall winning their last 5 home matches of the campaign and taking them to the cusp of the Sky Bet Championship top 6. And here we go, this is what Alex Neil said. I am delighted and incredibly proud to sign this new contract. Since my first day, the commitment to togetherness I've seen from everyone at the club, players, staff, and fans has been really special. The unity has helped us bring strong foundations for the seasons ahead, and to be part of that journey is incredibly exciting. I've said it many times, this club is special. There you go. It's only when you truly experience the work going on behind the scenes, speak with the fans and work alongside the players and staff day in, day out that you realise just how unique it really is. And there you go, we're ending the roundup show on some good news. Just going to cover really quickly friendlies. Friendlies confirmed against Bromley and against Sutton. I don't know the dates, look it up on the Millwall website while you read that interview. And Spain is happening, I believe. I think the club have already said that, or Richard Cowley's already said. No dates confirmed yet, so people will stop DMing me, text messaging me. I don't know, some of you weirdos have got my phone number. I don't know when it is. I'm sure that the club will release dates in due course, and I don't know whether they're holding back because of this potential takeover or potential investment, not takeover from our Saudi friends. We'll wait and see what happens on that one. And if more happens this week, then I'm going to bring you more news. But unless it doesn't, enjoy your week. Get out there, enjoy the sunshine after the washout yesterday. And of course, if you don't mind, please subscribe to Lions TV. We're 50 subscribers away from 25k. Come on, you Lions.